and I feel like they made a headline where there was really
When it
no
wasn't?
headline to make. It was gassed up. When I read the headline, and we be on point because we talked about this whole salacious headline thing. We be on point. So the headline made it seem like he definitively answered the question.
Right.
Is NBA YoungBoy just gonna go out there and keep wilding and keep being the face of the YNs and causing terror, or is he really gonna like try to make a change? And of course, and I've always advocated, again, repeat myself, I've always advocated for freedom of speech in your music.
I think people don't give the gravity or the weight to the word fan like they should.
Right.
And I tell independent artists all the time, your friends and your followers and your family are not your fan.
I think it's called Jockbox. That's the song, right? Jockbox. I think it's called Jockbox.
What? I don't think I've heard of it.
Skinny Boys?
Yeah.
You know Skinny Boys, right?
Nah.
You know Skinny Boys?
I've heard of the Skinny Boys.
Oh
You
my
had
God.
the Skinny Boys, the White Boys, all was
Skinny
like,
Boys.
all of them were a play off of the Fat Boys.
Oh, the Fat
Yeah,
Boys.
they had one big hit though. It was called I think it's called Jockbox. It's classic. And I was watching, I think it was Wendy's. I thought
I bet if I hear it, I probably know what it is. I never heard of the Skinny Boys.
I have heard that.
Yo, I've never heard that.
wow.
I've never heard of the Skinny Boys.
Yeah. And they kind of was like patterned after the Fat Boys. They had the beatboxer.
Yeah.
Beatboxer.
Yo, I've never heard
wow.
of the Skinny.
But anyway, I heard that playing in a Wendy's commercial recently. I'm like, I'm
Really?
Like, what in the
Yeah,
world?
sounds
I think it was some big brand. I think it was Wendy's. I'm not sure what it was, but I'm thinking it was Wendy's. And I'm like, that's Jockbox in the background. Are you kidding me?
Somebody get that. Somebody get that sync placement.
Right, for sure. Yeah, for real.
Skinny
Boys. But yeah, we the Hat Boys. I can't beatbox. I can't beatbox. Well, I used to, but I don't beatbox today.
You seen the what is it? The Catholic nun
I did.
going viral,
and then her and
beatboxing
the priest, they're like,
yeah, doing like, I don't know. I guess it depends on where you're from, but where I was from, that we call that the Roger Rabbit. Look like what she was
Roger
doing.
Rabbit.
Oh, the Roger Rabbit.
Oh yeah, the Roger Rabbit. You
Kind of look like that's what she was trying to do.
No, that's Cabbage Patch, right? That's a Cabbage Patch, right?
What's the Roger Rabbit?
The Roger Rabbit is where you put the one leg behind the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You almost like you walking backwards.
But you like skipping backwards.
Oh, I know that. Cabbage.
Yeah.
You
Roger Rabbit.
like a
You kinda-
60-year-old lady
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
I always get them confused.
Come on.
Roger Rabbit, Cabbage Patch.
Roger Cabbage Patch.
We had this
Cabbage
sketch called the
Patch,
Schoolcraft in Detroit. I'm sure it's called something else, but you do. Yeah, okay. I get them all confused, but
They probably got the same dance but different names.
That's why.
different
Depending on where you
regions.
from,
Right.
yeah.
Right, that's right. So, but man, y'all, it's good to see y'all again, brothers.
good to be seen.
back. Yes,
Hope y'all week has been. Not only do we got the hat, we got the glasses too. Nah, I mean,
That's facts.
we got to see.
Right, we gotta see.
Yeah, we gotta see.
It's much clearer with these.
Oh my gosh. But man, it's good to see y'all, man. Hope you had a prosperous and blessed week. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know y'all week's been busy. Shoot, my week has been. You know, I still got the day. I mean, we got the day jobs, right? Well, oh yeah, you got a day job too. Yeah, it's a day job though. It's a job. It's still. But yeah, but
We here.
we here, and it's been raining all week, which has been
That's been crazy.
crazy. You know, I guess.
I mean, yesterday, tornado touchdown in Henry County. So
I saw that on the.
I saw it on the
news.
actually a actor, on camera actor, his whole house got picked up,
Yeah, I saw that.
knocked down.
I saw that.
Yeah, he was on BMF and a couple other shows.
I
he's been on.
was wondering if that was from, because Kentucky had one like 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure before I found out the news. I
Yeah,
thought it was the guy. So he lived in Kentucky. I thought it was Kentucky. They just had one 2 weeks ago. So I didn't realize. Then later on, say, "Oh, that was probably yesterday."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in tears and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Talking about his
was
son
that
was in
Cheney?
ICU. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. I saw that. I was like,
Missouri.
man.
So prayers up for them, and
Yeah,
don't take anything for
sure.
granted.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't take
Yeah.
anything for granted.
That's literally what he said.
Don't
Like,
take anything for granted. Because one moment you could be, and the next moment you could be just up in
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
yeah, he just came from like hanging out with he had just finished posting like taking pictures with some other celebrities and that kind of thing, and then hours later he in the
That's
hospital.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But man, I know we got a lot to get into today.
Always a good
A
thing.
lot of different topics.
Yeah, man. It's
I think the
crazy.
first one, I don't know, I mean, we all try to take turns and, kind of bringing up topics. And so, B provided the topics this week, which was so dope. But I know one of the topics you provided, B, you can kick it off. You want to kick it off, bro?
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about Donald Trump doing his rounds of pardons, and we saw that first of all, Trump has a history going back to him working with Kim Kardashian during his first presidency, where he pardoned the woman. I think her name was Alice. I forget her name, but now she's like a champion for people getting pardoned. The black lady from I forget where she's from, but he pardoned. She committed a crime. I think it was drugs. She sold drugs, something like that. He pardoned her, and I believe Terry Flannery was pardoned under Trump, if I'm not mistaken, before Trump left.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the first term.
yeah, and I know he pardoned like Lil Wayne before, Kodak Black, and of course he pardoned NBA YoungBoy, and he pardoned Larry Hoover.
I saw that.
Even though it looks like he might still not getting out of jail because the governor of Illinois shut that down. They took him from federal jail to state. Like, okay, he pardoned you your federal stuff, but
Wow.
but you still got 100-something years in state, so you gonna come over here. They still trying to deal with that. But anyway, he pardoned Larry Hoover, and he pardoned NBA YoungBoy. The YoungBoy had some, I think, gun charges or drug charges or whatever. That's pardoned, and he wrote a thank you note, which is probably crafted by his attorneys. It looked like, it was real professional, and
it was at the statement. Well, we'll get into it, but
So I remember the thing with Larry Hoover. His was a commuted sent. It wasn't a straight pardon.
okay,
So I think the pardon actually wipes it from your record, but
Yeah,
the,
pardon
but
is
the
like you-
commute does not.
it's like you free and clear with a pardon.
Yeah, the commute does not wipe it from your record. And I think that may have been the same case with YoungBoy as well.
Yeah, now YoungBoy got a full pardon. He is, he got from what I read, he got a full pardon from Trump. It wasn't anything dealing with anything that was commuted or was limiting as far as his freedom. He was pardoned from that situation. But it also says, B, as you were talking, Alice Marie Johnson, who he dubbed to be the pardon czar.
Yeah, and YoungBoy thanked her in his statement. Did he call her a czar in the statement?
No, Trump dubbed her as
Okay.
the pardon czar.
Okay.
Like, pardon this person, this person, this person.
Yeah.
Like she's the advocate for pardons.
Got you. So to me, this topic is multi-layered, which the first layer in general, as it relates to, independent artists, the music industry is just a whole young boy type of, they call them YNs now. I don't know if y'all know that. They call them
They call them YNs.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a whole nation of YNs just kind of like taking over rap music. And we always talk about how the violence in the culture shouldn't exist in the culture, And we don't got to go over all that again for the millionth time. But the question is NBA YoungBoy just gonna go out there and keep wilding and keep being the face of the YNs and causing terror, or is he really gonna like try to make a change? And of course, and I've always advocated, again, repeat myself, I've always advocated for freedom of speech in your music, but outside of your music, how are you conducting yourself? Are you still promoting violence, outside the music? So what kind of turn is this going to take? Because he's the leader, in my opinion. He's the leader of the YNs.
He's the leader of the YNs.
And these YNs out here in real life terrorizing the streets.
Yeah.
So is he gonna like make a positive change? Again, I'm not telling him to necessarily change his lyrics, but is he gonna represent, someone like maybe like a 21 Savage, for example? 21 Savage, his music is still aggressive, but he's obviously like advocating for nonviolence and trying to do positive stuff, in his life. So it's interesting for me to see like what kind of turn is it gonna take and how is it gonna affect. Because again, to my independent artists, it's a gang of YNs and the underground independent scene trying to make it. So it does affect our demographic, whether indirectly or directly. So I'm just curious as to what kind of turn it's going to take. Is he going to like be a YN, or is he going to be a citizen that a real musician, professional musician, and earn a living and conduct himself in the right way?
Is evidence of change seen in his lyrics? Like, should there be evidence of change of him now embracing what he calls, where's this quote that I copied from this article?
Says this moment means a lot.
Yeah, this moment means a lot. Yep.
It opens the door to a future I've worked hard for, and I'm fully prepared to step into this.
So that's that. I mean, I guess that's the thing. He says, for a future I've worked hard for. Was this the one? Maybe not. Was this the future you envisioned for yourself? All the preparatory work, being in the industry, leading up to. I don't know what he envisioned his career to ultimately be, but for whatever he's worked hard for, that gun charge, was on a felony gun charge, was kind of like that could derail you. Now you got another chance. And what is he going to do with this chance? Is he going to continue to promote that type of lifestyle, knowing that he himself has just been given a second chance? Or is he going to continue that cycle through music, through his activities? Is he going to still encourage young, the YNs to, continue to pursue that lifestyle? Or is he going to be a champion for change for the nation of YNs?
Well, I've always said, I have no problem with the content in the music in and of itself. I have a problem with them giving the image that it's real, that this is how we really live, and we coming out here, we about to shoot somebody tomorrow, or I'm about to pay somebody to kill somebody, put some money on somebody's head.
Lied.
Yeah, like in real life, that's the problem I have, So
wipe they know.
Yeah, wipe somebody.
I'm not a YN, so I don't know them terms.
Wipe somebody knows.
Yeah,
you know what that means? That means they're gonna come and
you told me last time.
Yeah, do something to them. So, and then of course, again, not to rehash it, but I gotta say it again. Taking that stance of okay, I'm not a violent person. I'm positive. Then they're gonna call you fake and say you're not a real, and it might hurt it might hurt your sales and your image if you say, hey, because I know 21 Savage, in my opinion, has taken a hit by saying put down the guns and it's just music. Some people called him out for that. So I don't know. I'm just curious to see, because I would like for all these rappers to leave it in the booth. Like express yourself, make your art to whatever level you want to. It's art. It's art. Just like I go to watch. I'm going to the movies later tonight, probably. I like to watch horror movies. I like to watch gore. People get
sliced up, then diced.
Or gangster movies. I enjoy all of that content.
Oh, yeah, I love gangster movies.
So
he said sliced and diced.
So what I'm saying is, like, I don't have no problem with especially young black men who come from that environment, who want to make a positive change in their life, and they have some authenticity and some credibility in that world to make music, to make art, to escape it. Cool, no problem with that. My problem is when you try to act like you still doing it, and literally you are still doing it because you in and out of jail, and that's the YNs at home who have no ambitions of being a rapper, who have no chance of making it to the NBA, are terrorizing, and they crashing out, as young people say, they crashing out. So I hope that he would make a turn, and I hope that the audience would allow him to. That's the biggest thing, I think. As a audience, we gotta allow people to like to change and grow and evolve without
Mhm.
calling them fake or like, oh, he ain't real, and all this and that, which is not cool to me.
Yeah.
So I just think
Yeah, that's
I think it's curious to see what kind of turn that's gonna take now that he's pardoned.
mhm.
Yeah, I think it'll be huge for him. I know that he's got a lot of stuff that he's working on behind the scenes, but even while he was incarcerated, and just from some relationships that we have, I know he's heavy in real estate as well,
Mm.
and he's done some pretty lucrative deals. So hopefully, he comes out and is focused on those business ventures that he's got going, and that may come before the music, but I think kind of just see how he approaches trying to keep that same fan base, but talking about something different. We'll see what that looks
Yeah,
like.
that's the thing, right? Is how do you
You got there from doing a certain
from doing
kind
a
of
certain
music.
type of music, how do you change and then still do the same kind of music? Like, how do you change? Like, how do you change yourself as an individual and still, right? So let's say, like, even like maturity, right? How do you mature as an individual, but still do the same things that you did when you were quote unquote immature, I guess?
It's not easy, but I will tell you that there's a blueprint out there for him. He can just look to Ti.
Yeah, but the only
You know
problem with
what?
that is
You know, look,
the only problem with that though is
I mean, the greatest rapper alive has given you guys the
we're not
blueprint.
doing it. We're not
I got a problem
Ti
with
had fed
doing
charges.
yeah, but do we really believe Ti when he talk about what he's doing? I don't believe him.
I don't believe him no more.
Big
Not today.
and when he gets in interviews, he don't own up to it. Even still, he don't say, I'm just making entertainment. Oh, well, I still go to the. No, you don't. Like,
But I think he says that. Like, if you listen to any of the stuff that he put out after those, and he even got several songs where he had addressed, like, you know, yeah, I want to fight, but I wish I had walked away from that fight because I lost a friend in the process of it. Or, you know, you got to find a better way other than picking up a pistol to resolve an issue. Like, he's saying he's ended up still having platinum records
I think he's
and
leaning.
changing his rhetoric, so to speak.
I think maybe this might be the reason why he's not really rapping as much no more because I think that he had a crossroads where he don't know how to navigate that.
Mm.
And that was exactly why I led with saying perhaps that he will spend more time on some of his
Other
other
ventures.
adventures. I know he's got a huge like commercial property in Salt Lake City that is turning out to be a very lucrative investment for him. So I'm sure he'll continue to make music. An artist is always an artist, right? But not that it'll be his main focus. But I'm just
Well,
saying,
shoot.
Ti still has some amazing music that people still listen to.
He's promoting Ti, y'all, in case y'all don't know.
I don't know,
The
man.
Ti promoter.
I love Tip, but I just don't know.
Listen to it's. I
don't know
wish I
if
could
it's-
tell you the name of the songs, and the lyrics they're in there with the same other stuff that he usually just saying, but he literally
I just
because
but-
one of them is the Timberlake song, the
Dead and Gone.
Dead
Yes.
Oh no.
that was a hit.
I'm talking about post
That was a hit.
I'm talking about
No,
post
yeah,
that.
we're talking about.
But for him,
I'm talking about post that.
him, that was
still Ti
that was-
prime Ti.
but that was Ti with gun charges and Ti with federal
I'm talking
case.
about after post that.
That was after
talking
he
about-
got released from the case.
That's
Yeah.
Paper Trail, right? Paper Trail. Yeah, that's
think
that's
so.
in the middle of that. No,
But if
nah,
you
I'm
think
not
about
going with
but
that.
if you think about Ti today, right? He is not as relevant as he used to be. In
What rapper is as relevant as they used to be?
But what I'm telling you,
well,
That's been in the game for 25 years.
no. I mean, so Ti
He just happens to be the greatest rapper alive, but
no. I'm saying
he's not
Post-
relevant like that.
post charges, right? Because these types of things end up derailing a person's, or they can derail a person's career, right? So
hold on, you made me look that up.
So
I feel like T.I. had like 2 very successful projects
after Paper Trail.
After he went through his trial, and
Paper Trail was
how much time did T.I. do?
Like a year or 2, something like that.
Was it
maybe a
short?
year? Oh, it was pretty short.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't long.
But the ultimate question is, even if that's
came
the
out
case,
and had to clean up all them lyrics, like you were saying.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right?
Had to do.
So if he cleans up all the lyrics, what does that now do to his audience base? Do they still rock with him?
I don't know.
Or does he start to diminish?
I don't know. I ain't gonna lie.
Diminish in the value of the people who consume his music. And is that the same thing
that's
that's going to happen?
Good question. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was confused by the 21 Savage thing. Because 21 Savage had all those issues, and then
I wasn't confused by it.
Well, him and Drake? Who did he do an album with?
Drake.
And then he's got the song. It's like gang shit. That's all we own.
Yeah.
Gang. I'm like, I'm confused, sir. Ain't you on probation?
Doesn't the man have a right?
Appropriate?
Doesn't the man have a right to be an artist?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think you should come off probation talking about gangs?
Especially when he publicly outside the music said
probation.
That's art. See, we got to set a standard. We got to set a standard, though. We got to set a standard that Black men are able to make art as they choose to, because they're not living it.
I mean,
they're not.
Rap lyrics have been in multiple scenarios. Rap lyrics have been used to assist in the prosecution,
because these jokers are trying to live it outside the music. That's the problem. We got to set a new standard. That this is art.
We got to say this is art,
because we don't hold Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. We don't hold them to that. So we got to change the standard in our community, where we not actually living these things in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Which 21 Savage, who I commend, has publicly said, "This is not what I'm doing now. I've changed.
Mm-hmm.
Put the guns down." He said that,
mm-hmm.
so he has the right to go behind the booth, because as a fan, I appreciate authentic creators who are authentic, who have credibility with their art.
So I agree. Unfortunately, as it currently sits, if you are being creative, and then who's the guy? Is it YNF?
Lucci?
Melly.
Melly, yeah.
He's the one who literally did a song about the situation that happened with him and his
that he
homies
actually
in
did.
the car.
That he actually did.
So he messed it up for everybody else. But so you trying to say being creative? My man gave play-by-play. We was in the Jeep Cherokee. It was brown. It was on a Thursday night. I remember it. I had my Jabot jeans on. And
if you're not doing it, though,
he gave play-by-play.
If you're not doing it in real life,
but he was doing it in real life.
And what I'm saying is that we got to stop.
When the police officer asked me, I said, "Officer, I didn't do it."
So
he said, "Son, you blew it."
I get what B's saying. I get what he's saying. There has to be a certain distinction between when it's art and when it's not, and you're living that lifestyle, right? So when you think about actors portray criminals and drug addicts, but they don't live that life. And I think we understand that actors in movies don't live that life because they're playing a character, right? They're playing a particular role. I think on the flip side, when we're thinking about hip hop artists and rappers,
just music in general,
we expect
not even just hip hop.
Well, music in general, but in this case,
especially hip hop,
that we expect them to live that life.
I think it's all music.
Hip hop is a little bit more.
I think it's more in hip hop. I think
more so. I get what you're saying, and
because from an audience perspective, most consumers literally think that whatever song they hear, first of all, probably 80% of people still think that artists write all their own songs, and so whatever they're singing about is something that they may have experienced. Mm-hmm. That's what they think. Right?
I get what you're saying. I just think hip hop is exponentially more the case because hip hop is more aggressive, and
I do too.
Yeah, we just talk about stuff that make you guilty in the court.
Well, I just think we got to reset it. We got to reset it, though. We got to reset it, and this will help future generations as well to not prosecute us, because again, even with Young Thug, they had a lot of evidence on him of doing some of the stuff we talked about in the record.
Well, they had evidence of him before.
Yeah,
they were looking at stuff before, and they just included that.
He mentioned certain things in his songs though, but I think
that's what said they used
about wife and Lucci's mother about threatening her, like I could have killed your mama, something like that.
Yeah,
in the record.
pulled up on the doo. Yeah,
but they had other evidence too.
Yeah, no. So, okay, so in terms of the creative piece and the true ability to be able to be an artist, right? Recording Academy about 2 years ago crafted a bill called the Rap Act.
Mm-hmm.
You familiar with that? And it's basically about creating a line between what a artist could be credited with as being an artist and accused with in the case of a crime, and separating the two.
Right.
I had pulled it up so I could remember what the actual name of it was.
But
Restoring Artistic Protection, the Rap Act. So it's actually still a bill that we're trying to get passed.
Yep.
It has not been, but there for future, there is we're trying to create some delineation between the two. But as of right now, I would just suggest that you stop giving play-by-plays out here. But just don't give the play-by-play on how exactly you did it.
I would suggest you get out the streets and stop committing crime. That's what I would suggest.
Stop committing crime.
Tell it on yourself.
Stop being a criminal.
Yeah, either way.
No. I don't want
gassed up.
I don't want any dangerous criminals in the industry at all.
Period.
When you enter this industry, we don't need that.
We talked about that. We talked about.
I'm not for that at all. Now I am for young. I don't care what race you are, but especially black men. I'm all for you changing your life and present opportunities for these men to leave the streets, lead that lifestyle. I'm all for that, but just leave that stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave it there.
But it just feels weird if I used to live that lifestyle and talk about that type of stuff, and I'm changed.
But that's where the fans come in. And again, your boy T.I. There's a Breakfast Club interview within the last 2, 3, 4 years, maybe, where I think it was Envy asked him about that. He was like, "Yeah, because I know you don't be going, you ain't in the hood like every." What you mean? He was like trying to correct him to prove how street he was. And it's like, he looked kind of foolish. Like, why are you trying to prove you street? We know that, you might can get a pass there because you are a legend, but why are you trying to show how hard you are at 40 years old?
Because being in the street.
But that confuses the fans. Like, just go ahead and just own up. Like, I can still make that aggressive music, because I think Envy was asking him, how do you still make aggressive music being that you're not in the hood no more? And he, I guess, kind of took offense to it a little bit. Like, what you mean I'm not? And it's like, all he's saying is that you're not shooting people every day, selling drugs. How do you, but artists, you don't have to like try to like, we still love you and we still know you authentic. We know that if somebody come at you the wrong way, you gonna handle your business.
Right.
We get it.
Like, put your hands down, OG.
Yeah.
You ain't got to do that no more.
We know that you are. Right. So we're trying to show the kids though that that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's relevance, right? So how do you stay relevant? And so you stay relevant by giving the portrayal that you still are involved in those type of activities or in those neighborhoods or with those groups of people or communities or whatever the case.
But in T.I.'s defense though, the problem is though, like the fan base and the community, especially our community, we look at, he fake, he ain't in the hood no more. He ain't, and it's like, why do we do that to each other?
We prosecute each other.
Oh gosh.
Like, why do we do? Why do we like, he ain't hard no more? And in our minds, even I might be even guilty of it. In our minds, the back of our minds, it don't hit the same because we thought. Remember when 50 Cent first came out? Everybody thought that he was like the real. Like he would, and it was something about his music that was like, yo, like
this dude really is.
Yeah, it attracted you to his music. You thought he had a bulletproof vest on.
He was shot 9 times.
Yeah, like
right.
He out the heat, and it was something about that was exciting to us, and it drew us to him. So we kind of. As fans, a little guilty too of engaging with that and like hyping that up. We got to make a change though. We got to be able to like let these artists make their music, but get the violence.
Yeah,
because even
we do keep people on the hook though. Even when we talked about the whole Carrie Hilson thing, it was like, nah, you sang them lyrics.
You sang them. You did some activities.
Yeah, you did.
We said this last week.
You did what you did. So
we said this last week. We saw Diddy beating that girl. She was on camera. We saw, like, you still got to own up to the activities that you did, right? Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if you live that life, yes. Do you have to still live that life? No. Can you change? Yes. should you still be rapping about that same type of things? And that's differing of opinions, right? But you got to make the determination of what fits you. You may lose fans based upon a situation. If you do decide to change your lyrics, those people may not.
Maybe in a short term, maybe long term, we can recondition as a culture to
Like,
you know
I
what?
still love Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah.
But Wu-Tang, RZA, you think RZA, they still living the same life they used to?
Yeah,
No.
no. But I think too, we always hope as artists that our fans grow with us.
We hope so.
And so if
And
they
as we
do,
mature, they mature.
yeah. So I don't know.
NBA YoungBoy too. By the way, it's worth noting that he's going on a big tour, arena tour.
Yeah.
I believe because now that he's partying, he's free to move.
He's free to move around the world.
You know, we'll see what kind of stories, what kind of reports come from. This would be a good gauge to see because they're already talking about. I think in Chicago they said, "Oh, he ain't coming. He ain't coming to Chicago. They done banned him from Chicago. He ain't performing in Chicago and all this." And it's like a bunch of foolishness, you know.
Yeah. Can I add to that?
Go ahead.
So you see the clip today where they asking Trump would he pardon Diddy?
I saw the headline. I didn't see the clip. I saw the headline.
I saw the clip of them actually asking him in the press conference.
Okay.
When he was in the Oval Office, he said, "Well, nobody's pretty much asked." He said, "But if they mistreating him, then I would consider it." And so here's the thing:
He ain't been convicted yet. That's the thing.
He ain't even been convicted. He said, "But if
yeah,
I felt like he was dancing around it, and I felt like they made a headline where there was really no headline to make. It was gassed up. When I read the headline, and we be on point because we talked about this whole salacious headline thing. We be on point. So the headline made it seem like he definitively answered the question.
Right.
If you listen to the actual interview and his answer, he was really being aloof. Like he was like, I mean, if somebody is treated wrongly, then then I mean, I would, you know, a lot of people have been convicted of things, and then they were treated bad. It was bad. It was really badly, and since it was badly and mostly not goodly, then
that's the goodly.
Then I would consider it. He's nobody's at. He's like, and he even, I mean, he went all off in the woods. He talking about, we used to be, good friends, and then
he liked me a lot.
And then he liked me before my first campaign, and then when I started running for president, things change when you run for president, and people start treating you differently. And I guess he didn't like some of the things that I was saying, and then I read some stuff that he had said, and so I haven't really talked to him in a while. But if anybody, it was like he went all down the rabbit hole.
That boy, he didn't come out
only to come up out and say, anybody who was convicted of a crime and was treated unfairly, just as I have been in the past, if they ask me for a pardon, it's not out of the question.
Right.
It's basically how he answered it. Yeah. And the headlines was like, Trump said he would pardon Diddy.
He gonna pardon Diddy. Like, did he really say that? I don't think Trump really said he was going to pardon Diddy.
Nah.
I think if you really go back and look at the headlines and the story of what was transpired, he was mad aloof though.
It ended up being a super generalized answer.
Generalized.
Not if Diddy called me, I'ma set my man free. It wasn't like free. That. Yeah. It was.
I think what I read said that he said he would look at the facts or something like that.
Look at the facts. Look at the facts. Factually facts.
But this is a good segue to the other side of this topic.
Yeah.
Is that with Trump, of course, NBA YoungBoy fans, people who love Larry Hoover, they are over the moon about it. And see, this is why I rock with Trump. See, Trump is this. Trump is for black people. So it's kind of, and then of course,
whoa, that's wow.
Everybody's arguing and fighting. So now it's like, my question is, if you're a fan or actually an artist who Trump does something for, do you owe some kind of loyalty, or should you maybe not support him, but don't talk bad about him? Even, how do you navigate that if he does something big for you?
Like this though, like a pardon.
A pardon, exactly. Like Lil Wayne, Kodak Black.
You got a pardon, bro.
They
from the president.
They give Trump, praising Trump, taking pictures with him and all that stuff. So it's like I don't rock with Trump at all. However, if you did that for me, I don't know. I might not be campaigning for him, but I ain't gonna be talking bad about nobody.
But now there's a certain level of respect and loyalty that they have for an individual, even if they hated that individual. That sometimes you see certain situations where your enemy saves your life, and now you're indebted to your enemy, and now I'm not gonna kill you because we were enemies, but now we're not friends. But you saved my life.
I get what you're saying.
And so, in the sense, he saved his life. So now, NBA YoungBoy, Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, Larry, whoever, now have a certain level of whatever that looks like, loyalty to an individual that saved their life. Because these people could have went to jail, prison. I mean, what he was going to go to prison for? How long? 23 years. I think that's what it said. 23 years. He was going to go to jail. Now you got an individual, a president that a lot of people. No, he was sentenced to last year to 23 months. Let me make sure I go back and say that 23 months in prison for possession of firearms as a felon, and so he's already a felon. Right. Now you got firearms. This was kind of the same issue we talked about with Rod Wave last week because Rod Wave was a felon. He had a gun, and that's why they ended up arresting him. But still,
get trouble on the phone, Rod Wave.
Get trouble on the phone, Rod. Hey, your man can free you right with a pardon. But I think there's a certain level of loyalty, even for the friends of that individual, right? So it's like,
the fans as well.
Yo, you saved my guy.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, and we rock with you at a certain level. I'm not campaigning for you, but we definitely ain't talking bad about you though.
And it's worth noting too that Lil Wayne, who supported Trump, Kodak Black, their career is still doing okay to me. Last time I checked.
But have they come out and said anything negative about Trump since then?
The closest thing I saw was Kodak Black didn't say nothing negative, but he did kind of like, because Kodak Black is part Haitian, and I believe Trump made some negative comments about Haiti a few months ago, and Kodak Black had to come out and say something. He didn't really go in on Trump, but he did defend his people, because you can't. You got to defend your folks. So so. I don't know. I just know that
it's like a rumor out there that if you got $2 million, you can get a pardon. I'm just gonna put it out there. This is what I do. That's what I bring to the pod. Damn it! There's a rumor out there. You can look it up. If you got $2 million, you could get a pardon. And not only that, but of course you got to have statements. So, for example, like
references.
Yeah. Well, like letters of good character.
Yeah, like
so for example, Deion Sanders did one for Lil Wayne. But Wayne had to put money up. They say he had to donate to this fund and that fund, and those donations were taken into consideration as part of the reason why he received his pardon.
Oh, so if you got some bread, you can just go and
like pardon. I just said, NBA got a phenomenal scenario in Salt Lake City that deals with real estate. What does Trump do? How did his family make their money?
Exactly.
He's got a phenomenal scenario out there in Salt Lake City where he bought a piece of real estate for a very low price, but now it's a very prominent area, and now he's got corporate companies that are looking to do business with him. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's real, I'm not saying it's true, but does it sound like it's characteristic of this administration? If you got $2 billions, 2 billies or 2 millies.
2 millies.
If you got 2 millies.
Not a milli now, it's 2 millies.
Yeah. Free Willy.
It does fall in line though.
If you got the 2 millies, you could free Willy.
It does fall in line though, because isn't he selling like green cards for like
five,
bruh.
For $5 million.
Yeah. So Trump is a business.
He's a businessman.
Everything is transactional.
I'm a business.
Everything is transactional. So
business.
Like I love all this good talk we talking, but let's just keep it 3,000. We know
3 stacks.
Who this administration is.
You got the bread,
and if you got beans, then you can grow the stalk.
That's crazy.
If you got beans, I'm not saying I made that up. I'm just saying it's out there. It's out there in the universe, and you can, and especially publications outside of the U.S. have done a little more of the digging into what exactly it took in order for some of these pardons to happen. It was like the BBC who reported about Deion Sanders writing a letter for Lil Wayne and the donations that need to be made and the letters of goodwill that need to.
Trump had a lot of good said about Shadur Sanders in the draft. Remember Trump?
Yes,
Trump made a statement on him not getting drafted.
Yeah. So obviously he holds Deion at a high regard.
Yeah,
it's because he hold his son at the same.
$2 million.
You got $2 million. Free Willy.
And Trump is like a mob boss. He values loyalty.
Trump is like a mob boss, though.
He values
Loyalty and business.
Loyalty in business and money is like
the transaction.
Yep.
He like, I don't have to like you.
I don't have to like you. But you gave me some money.
Yeah.
We make it happen.
If you got the bread, we making sandwiches. Period.
So
that's simple.
Back to our independent artists, is it okay to support Trump? If that's how you feel, for whatever reason.
I think you can support whoever you want to support.
Yeah, it's okay to support whatever agenda is in alignment with your agenda.
You can support whatever you want to support.
Whatever's in alignment with your morals, whatever's in alignment with your financial state.
As a fan, if you despise Trump, which many people do, is it okay to still be a fan of somebody who supports Trump?
That's a yes too. Is it okay to still be a fan of R. Kelly?
Yes.
Music, even though you don't like the person.
See, I'm not an R. Kelly fan, but I'm not an R. Kelly fan. I'm a fan.
I love his music.
But by the way, quick aside.
Not all his music, but
quick aside. You just getting to know me. You kind of sort of getting to know me, but I'm a very literal person.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick aside right here.
Yeah.
We overuse a lot of words in the music in society, period. And the word fan is short for fanatic.
Right.
Yes.
I'm not a fanatic just because I like some of your music.
That's a fact.
I am a listener. I am a liker of him, but I'm not a fanatic. I'm only a fanatic for about maybe 3 or 4 artists.
Yeah, me too.
A fanatic. So artist fan. This fan.
I have to think about it. I don't know.
We gotta stop. Well, not stop, but I'm just saying I like to be literal.
That's the same phraseology we would use, like your parents would tell you, everybody ain't your friend.
That's right.
Right. And so you've used the word friend very close to people who really fit into that category. So fan is kind of the same thing. I may love your music. Like I am a Boyz II Men fan.
Yes.
Every album. I mean, you can see I got every album I own of Boyz II Men. Right? I'm a fan of Boyz II Men. I like R. Kelly's music. I was listening to it the other day.
That's crazy.
My mind was telling me no came on the other day.
Whoa. And you was jamming?
Yo, even the joint with Public Announcement came. I was like, hold up. I was like, yo, this took me back.
I used to have that album.
But I'm not a fan of R. Kelly. Well, I appreciate that because, words actually do matter. The words you use. So we had this conversation the other day. So let me kind of I appreciate that, B. Somebody was giving me feedback about some things with growth of the channel and some stuff like that. And I was telling this person, I was like, man, I appreciate your feedback. He was like, bet. He said, and I said, hope I didn't come across that I didn't appreciate it. He was like, but you kept using the word but. And to me, but signifies that there may be some, like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm still going to do it my way anyway. And I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. Words have meaning. Right. I mean, I'm talking about Ty. I'll put it out there.
No, I was just gonna stay quiet.
He was gonna stay quiet the whole time, right? But no, I mean you're 100% right.
The same way, like that.
100% right.
What that word signifies, I think people don't give the gravity or the weight to the word fan like they should.
Right.
And I tell independent artists all the time, your friends and your followers and your family are not your fans.
They're not.
That's not the same thing. Just because you got this many people following you on Facebook or just because you got a whole bunch of cousins and uncles and aunties that say they like your music, they not buying it.
They're not promoting it.
They not promoting it. Hopefully, maybe they streaming it.
Maybe.
But at the end of the day, when you do whatever you do to promote and market your stuff, you need to be looking beyond your immediate community.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great.
And I think maybe on a future episode we can dive into what we think a fan is, But I'll just say,
that would be dope.
I would say one indicator is they're willing to spend money, drop off a hat, no questions asked.
No questions asked.
Like DJ Quick, anything related concert, I'm not even. I don't gotta listen to it. I don't gotta. People just here's my money.
Yeah.
No matter what.
See, I'm gonna take that back.
It's only a couple people.
I like J. Cole's music.
Exists.
I'm not a J. Cole fan.
I'm a fanatic.
You would think I'm I say I'm a J. Cole fan, but I'm not. I've never been to a J. Cole concert. I've never even gone to Dream Fest or Dreamville Fest. This is right up the street. Never been.
Yeah.
If I get to see him in concert,
not a
great.
fan then.
If I get to see him in concert, great.
Yeah, fan
But
would have at least seen a local show.
I flew to Vegas.
Came to town.
My wife flew me to Vegas to go see Boys and Men.
Ooh.
Because she know I'm a fan of Boys and Men.
Yeah.
She was like, boom, one Christmas, she was like, boom, I got this for you.
Oh,
Paid for the flight, hotel, everything.
that's cool.
Because she knew that I'm a fan of Boys and Men.
Yo, Boys and Men hard.
Boys and Men,
ABC. Let me tell you something. My sister one time was like, I got tickets to a Boys and Men concert. It's right up the street from the house. Like, take 15 minutes to get there. I was like, I don't really. I mean, growing up, I definitely, don't get me wrong, I was doom 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 da da. I was all that.
I was there,
but I was like, I don't know if I really. It's cool. I'll go. It's, family outing. Let's do it, man. Let me tell you, I never sat down. I was like, who knew that this needed to be on your bucket list of things you needed to experience? Right. If you grew up in that time frame and that music and how phenomenal it was, and those guys still put on a phenomenal show. They do. I know we way off topic with that, but no, they do.
That's okay.
And that's an indicator, though.
That's it. Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, wait, am I a fan of Boys?
That's right.
I know all the words to all the songs. I never really even thought about it, but I had the albums, of course, back then, and it was like really nostalgic. I was like, I might be a fan of Boys to Men like that, but I'm not though, because after that happened, I didn't go looking online to see when tickets was, and I don't follow none of them. I think Sean Stockman I follow, but
I follow all quick concerts around the country because I try to go places to see them. If I'm following. Okay, I might find.
See, that's me. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. When they schedule come out, I be looking to see. Okay, they gonna be in Jacksonville. I could drive to Jacksonville. They gonna be in Carolina. I could drive to Carolina. They gonna be in Tennessee. I can drive to Tennessee. Yeah, I do that. I think that's the only thing I'm really a fan of. Probably the Browns and the Cavs.
I think that's a great segment though, because you can really give indie artists some type of criteria,
a benchmark.
To
what
say,
is truly
here's how
fan.
you need to identify who your fans truly are. How can you recognize them? What criteria do they meet in order to be considered
what criteria do they need to meet?
Do they need to meet
like,
to be a true
fan? Like B said, are they buying merch, not even thinking about it? Like, say less. Are they checking out the schedule of where you gonna be, when you gonna be?
I'm always looking for where Boys and Men is gonna be.
I've bought merch off
if I can go.
DJ Quick's website. And most people don't even know he got a website. I bought stuff off his website. Okay, but bringing it back to the topic though about can you still be a fan of somebody? It reminds me of something. It was about maybe 20 years ago, and I believe it was Andre 3000, if my memory is correct. Andre 3000 was during the presidential campaign, either in 2004 or 2008. He went to the Democratic National Convention just to cover it, just to kind of, I don't know,
like a reporter,
something like that. I don't know what he was doing, but he was there,
commentary,
something like that. I don't even know if he was reporting, but he was there. And then a few months later, he went to the Republican convention, and there was a lot of backlash from the fans. And he had a quote. He's like, "I was just there to kind of just see both sides of it." And what he said though was like, "If anybody says they're no longer a fan of me, they were never a fan in the first place." And that kind of stuck with me.
That's right.
And it brings back to this. Like, I think if you're a fan of somebody, you're going to rock with them no matter what. Even if you don't agree, you're going to make up excuses for them. You're going to try to like.
That's the entire Trump scenario.
Right. You know, because he do got fans.
He be doing some wild stuff and they be like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's cool. He's
the problem. It's no problem.
So that's kind of my view on the whole thing, man. With Trump and, it's going to be interesting to see though.
Yeah.
Because he got,
I agree.
What, 3.5 more years in office.
Sir.
So we're gonna see how all things shake out in the real and with his policies and also in the culture. Yeah, and we're gonna feel the same way about him in 4 years. Because remember, back in the day, we used to love Trump. Back in the 90s, 80s.
Oh yeah, we used to love Trump back then.
We used to shout him out in our records. He would be on our shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Arsenio Hall.
His would show up
everywhere.
He was on. Him and 50 Cent was cool. They might still be cool. I don't know, but he was on Shade 4-5. You know what I'm saying, with Tony Yayo. I remember all that stuff.
They love Trump.
I used to love The Apprentice. That's my favorite show back in the day. I used to love The Apprentice, and then it evolved into, us not rocking with him mainly because of stuff he says.
I'm gonna grab him in.
Because like I said,
that's out of pocket.
That's out of pocket.
Very out of pocket. But
he crazy.
Up until 2020, up until this year, I never really had much of a problem as what he actually did,
Mm.
especially as president up until this year. I think
Now you're seeing like
I don't want to get too political, but I feel like maybe he felt like, you know what, it's my last shot. I'm about to really stick it to these. Because first term, I didn't have no problem with most of what he did, even though he was saying wild stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. My point is, it'll be interesting to see how the next 3.5 years play out with Trump and the culture and artists co-signing him and him pardoning folks. I think
Tory Lanez, if you got $2 million,
yeah,
Tory Lanez got $2 million. He got $2 million.
Free Willie.
He got $2 million.
Tory Lanez, get your money up. I know you got it. Just go ahead and make them wire transfers.
Exactly. Man.
Speaking of transfers, man, I want to talk about the transfer of information from your private life to the public. I've always felt like, me personally, of course, I'm not some big public figure at the moment anyway. I've always felt like I wanted
it's coming though.
I wanted to keep my private stuff private. Like most people don't know nothing about me from the public perspective. You know, I try to keep stuff hidden away to kind of have that for me. But when I look at like, and I didn't even put this in the notes, but I was reading stuff about Cardi B and Offset today. It was like, wow, you know.
I read that. I was like,
right. I'm like, whoa.
Death, like, dang, this was the man you was married to and said you love.
And he got 3 kids, but these are 3 kids' father, and you want him to die?
Right, you want to die slow?
That's
crazy.
That is nuts to me. Regardless of who was right or wrong, because I'm sure they both are probably in the wrong, but to say you want him to die slow, to die at all?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's that crazy.
I think it's nuts.
I think that emotions will have you saying things that you will put into literal words, but I don't think that you would even you can't even truly grasp the magnitude of the thing physically happening.
I don't know.
But I think you would say it, and especially in a scenario where if you to see that makes sense to me. Like I'm not even shocked. I didn't see that, but I'm not even shocked to hear that she would have said that. If you look at how passionate she was on social media at that, if you look at how passionate she was about her crash outs over him, and she just was like, I did this for you, I did that for you. Like when you see how she out for herself, she's not thinking about it, because the things that he did, that's an extension of her. The things that he did them to her, and then it becomes, how could you do that to me and them? So now that's one on top of
let me just tell
that's pain on top of pain.
Let me tell the world, fellas, stay
don't surprise me.
Stay away from women like that will say stuff when they get mad.
How you know?
That's all
the situations.
I can give you a whole lecture on how you know.
Oh yeah, that's always signs. I'm just
that's a different episode. Yeah. But okay, but the topic is, I was talking about Remy Ma and Papoose. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. The topic, how they going at it. But they were so put to be like black love and sharing her. So should you share your relationship in your private life, your kids, your family? Should you share that with the public? Because when it goes bad, to me, it's not a good look. So, but on the flip side, with this new generation, we're expected to be transparent and to show everything. So would that hurt you if you don't?
We talked about this last time.
I just feel like keep your stuff private. You don't need to know who I'm with, because if it do go bad, I'm gonna take my L in private. I'm not about to take my L in front of y'all, and I'm not gonna involve myself with somebody that's craving public attention.
I got a question. Was Remy Ma and Papoose on any type of reality TV show together?
Didn't they get married on
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think they got married on it. No. They got married in jail. I think they renewed their vows or something like that. They did something public.
Yeah.
Bruh.
I'm always in the mindset, me personally, keep your personal life separate from all of that. You don't need to see my kids. You don't need to see my wife. You don't need to see what goes on in our personal relationship. You don't get access to that. I'm an artist. I'm a singer, rapper, whatever that is. My job is to deliver great music, and that's what I do. Now, I can have you peer into my life for certain things that we do, BTS, right? We're in the studio making a song, great. If we're on tour, I can do all that. But for me to show you the innards of my personal
inner workings,
the inner workings of my personal life, no, I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give anyone access to that. That reminds me of a lyric that I heard from a gentleman that I like his music, J. Cole. He said he wanted that Jada and that Will love. And now that lyric came back to be like, kind of bite him like, oh, you really want that Jada and Will love? You really want that love that we found out is what's going on? One, that's why I don't make comparisons of relationships of people, especially celebrities. Oh, I want to love just like them. Well, you don't really know what's going on in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless they really showing you what's really going on in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know all the intricate details of your personal story, your personal life. Give me the music. Let me know who you are as a creative, but I'm not going to, that's just me.
Yeah. Y'all tweaking. So this is the reality. I think that you guys are right up into a certain level. I think in the case of whether it's Cardi, whether it's Papoose in this situation, they chose to put their personal lives on display.
They did.
And so it's no holds barred.
Once you do that, once you decide to do that.
However, that's just one aspect of it. Because we all know that once you reach a certain level of star, it is what it is. We see the paparazzi chasing. They know what restaurants the rich and famous go to, what resorts they go to, and they pull up on them. And so as much as you would want to keep your private, for whatever reason, media has decided in some sectors of media that no, if you out here living like a human, then I can take a picture of you or get a video of you coming up out the Costco, or
right.
or you holding hands with somebody coming up out the Benihana's. I'm catching all of that because now you're a celebrity at this magnitude. You know, it's for example, there's some people who maybe are on Tyler Perry shows. You see them around the city, and you know Atlanta's kind of different anyway. You don't see like a bunch of paparazzi and stuff in Atlanta because we treat as long as the celebrities treat the city with respect, we treat the celebrities like they just another resident of the city.
Yeah.
But
true.
you go to LA and they popping out. I mean, there's cameras every time a Kardashian step out. Kanye can't go nowhere. He acting crazy. Bieber done knocked down paparazzi. Chris Brown snatching cameras. Like, it's a certain level that even though you might say right now, you might say, well, you know, I'm not in the public eye like that. Bro, this episode go viral. They're gonna be outside your house with cameras, bro. And you can say I keep my personal. What's personal?
Well,
now once we reach a certain level, unfortunately, the way this world is created, nothing is That's why Harry and help me, Margaret,
Megan.
Is it Megan?
Oh yeah.
That's why they suing the paparazzi and the BBC and all that, because it's like, okay, good grief, like I can't have a life. But it's like once you get to a certain level, you as much as you might think you trying to be private.
I think you're right, but I'm not gonna feed into that though. Like you're not gonna get nothing out of me. You can take all the pictures you want, and you can write all the articles you want. I'm not gonna confirm or deny nothing.
Yeah, you're not gonna see us arguing in public.
Yeah,
you're not gonna see us.
So you're not gonna get on your live and just start yelling.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Right, we're not gonna get on the live.
That's what they doing,
and cursing people out and
Papoose getting on his live, Cardi on hers.
Yeah, like if me and my wife we got some issues, it's not happening on display.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of the issue is that these things are happening in the public eye. You can still be in the public eye at that level, and still because there are people who that are at that level that they don't have that. They're not all into that type of displaying of their,
because you got
it's all out there, man.
Because when
it's people at TMZ that go check the the divorce court thing every day.
That's true.
They do.
That's true.
So even if you kept it on the low ski until it was time to sign paper, once you go to sign
them papers, boy,
it's somebody's job.
It's a ticker, like boop.
It's an hourly job.
But
yes.
But again, I'm not confirming or denying. I'm just giving my art.
I'm not telling you nothing.
I look at like Jamie Foxx, for example. You know, he's been dating women with Katie Holmes. Him and Katie Holmes dated allegedly because he never said nothing about it. They dated for a decade. They had pictures of them together, but neither one of them said a peep to anybody.
You can do that. That's the issue. You can be in the public eye and not have your drama on display.
No, you cannot address it. Like
not address it.
If somebody chooses to take pics, it's gonna be on display.
Well, they choose to take pics,
but you cannot address it and feed into it.
But it's how that's right. How I respond. Yeah. Am I gonna smack the camera at your hand?
A lot of times when we've seen these outbursts on social media, it's because the person is addressing something that might have been said in a blog or said on a YouTube. They're addressing it. And like you saying, you don't have to feed into that. You don't have to add to that. You let it be what they think it is.
These same couples, though, when things are going great, they oversharing.
Yeah, they oversharing.
And that's right. That's the problem. When you share the good stuff, you got a propensity to share it all. So my thing is, you're not getting nothing because I don't got to prove nothing to you. I don't got to prove to the world that I'm happy that I got a woman. I don't got to prove. I don't got to prove it to nobody.
I don't got to show you none of the things that happen. But we talked about this. What was the video that we saw? Who was it? It's your man. He played in White Man Can't Jump, the new jump. He used to live
Jack Harlow.
Yeah, Jack Harlow. Yeah. He had a clip about talking about he don't want none of that stuff in his life. Like, you ain't gonna see nothing. Like, my personal life is my personal life. Like this, he said I think he said, I almost didn't want to do this because y'all were peering into my life. Like, no. But there are certain people that can be in the limelight. Like, who's
J. Cole, your boy J. Cole?
No, I was gonna actually say Kendrick.
Well, Kendrick too. Up until recently, we didn't even know who his fiance was. Her name
exactly
wasn't even. But of course, Drake,
yeah, you know,
put it out there. We didn't even know. You know, we never seen the kids. We did see him on Mr. Morale. So he kind of, I think Mr. Morale was when he kind of opened it up a little bit when he showed it. But even then, though, he never talked about it outside the music.
Right.
You know, J. Cole, the same way. Apparently, he's married with a couple kids.
I didn't know this dude was married until I saw the interview with him on, and the dude was like, "Yo, so how's married life?" And he was like, "Yo, wait a minute."
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people knew.
He didn't want to talk. He
didn't want to talk about it.
This is not. What are you doing? You know?
Because this has nothing to do with me being J. Cole, the artist. This is I'm Jermaine Cole, the husband and the father. But what does it have to do with me being J. Cole, the rapper? Like,
and so that's kind of proving both our points. A, despite the fact that he kept it under wraps, clearly, if they want to know, they're gonna find out. And B, you can decide not to feed into it and be like, nah, we're not doing that. Next question.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So my question is,
Eminem said he was trying to eat with his family, eat with his daughter. You trying to come home and get a signature?
Yeah.
He was like, I owe you nothing.
So my question for independent artists when they come up, because it's easy to do that when you're J. Cole and Kendrick. They're at the top of the mountain, you know. But when you're coming up trying to get attention, is it a requirement that you show yourself in order to gain fans, to be transparent? Because they say, you know, show your life, give them the BTS, and let them get to know you. Let them fall in love with the person before they fall in love with the artist, kind of thing. So is that a requirement now for artists? What do y'all say?
I still stand on that. I can do all that without you having to see my wife and kids.
But will that hinder you, though? Will it slow your progress down a little bit?
It may. But I think that's a sacrifice I would have to be willing to make in order to protect that area of my life. Is to say, yeah, you're not going to get all that. You're going to get, now if I'm on live and my wife decides to come in and then I'm like, hey, you on live? Like, I've been on live before and one of my sons just came in and was like, oh, and now he's on live. And it's like, oh, hey, what's up, y'all? And then boom, he's gone. Like, but those are like rare instances. You're not going to get all of that. I hardly even post them on social media just because that's a side of life that is protected. Like, the only way you'll see it is if I say, hey, my son's birthday. Like, it was my son's, like my man's right here. It was his birthday, you know, on the 25th, right? on May 25th, and I was like, "Happy birthday!" Put them on social media, but outside of that, you won't. I got to protect. For me personally, I got to protect certain. And I'm a nobody, right? I'm not a big famous person, but I still got to protect the areas that I feel that nobody should have privy to, even if it comes with some sort of level of sacrifice and hit to my own career.
Yeah.
He like, you tweaking, man. No, I'm selling everything, man. Put my kids on blast. No,
Ty, do you think it would hinder up and coming artists if they held back?
I love the question. I think that that's for the artist to decide. I think that there's an audience for everything, right? So if you're somebody who maybe makes vulnerable music and you want to be seen in that vulnerable state and that kind of thing, that may be it may be perfect for the art that you're creating and the consumer that you're looking to convert to a fan. However, I always see people who work at these marketing companies and some of them that work at labels saying, you got to post this, you got to post, you need content, content, content. And then, there's certain examples of certain artists that are signed to labels, have great marketing schemes around the music themselves. You go to their page and it's like 5 posts or it's 1 post.
Well, that's another issue.
And so it's kind of like the level of execution as an artist on what you do really dictates how fans receive you. So if you make phenomenal music, you can just make that. Like if you go to, just as a bad example, if you go to Meg Thee Stallion's page, you're gonna see Meg working out. You're gonna see Meg doing makeup. You're gonna see Meg getting her hair braided. You go to Chapel Roan's page, you're not seeing none of that. All you seeing is cover art. All you seeing is posts of videos that are already out and available for public consumption. You don't know nothing about Chapel Roan beyond
what is
as an artist
on social media.
She not giving you none of her day-to-day nothing. She ain't on that. I'm an artist. And then partially because the version of the artist that she is not the version of the artist that she started as. So it's kind of like to create separation between who she is as she goes to market. She has completely separate from who she was before she became who she is. So if you go look, she probably has as many or equal number of followers on social platforms as a Meg Thee Stallion, but it's completely 2 different ways of going to market, but it's effective for them both. So I'm saying to artists, you got to figure out what's going to work best for you, and you can't necessarily always do it based on what you see that's working well for somebody else.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, you got to assess that. You have to have the ability to assess that for yourself.
Their journey is not your journey.
That's true. And I know what my journey is. And my journey is you're not getting all that.
And you've got to be comfortable with the path that you choose.
I am. Which is, if I was to even kind of segue something like that with how we even talk about some of these types of things in relationship to I'll say like salacious headlines and gossip and drama and all that, because we talk about those same type of topics, but we don't do it in a fashion of being messy. I'll use that term, being messy, right? It always is the educational aspect of what can the indie artists take away from it so that they could enhance or grow their career. And sometimes it may be slow. It may be a slow journey because we aren't being messy and gossipy and bringing up drama and all that type of stuff. And you got to be okay with it. You got to be okay with the decisions that you make when you are in pursuit of whatever journey that you are on or whatever end goal that you truly want to meet. That, does it come with sacrifice? Oh yeah. For sure. It comes with sacrifice, and you got to be willing to accept that. Got to be willing to accept that.
I agree.
Well, I'm going to send some positive energy, man, to both Papoose, Remy, Cardi B, Offset, because
And any of them y'all out there facing that same type of drama today.
When they're kids, I'm a big advocate for children and kids, man. And you know, your kids got to see that stuff.
They got to see it.
When you
other kids are talking about it in school.
Yeah,
come on now.
And both, like, you know, I think Remy called Papoose pawn poose because he accused him of pawning his jewelry. It's just it's just
that's crazy.
Y'all got kids.
I saw him like literally on, I don't know what platform it was, but telling a whole story about how she was kicking it with a female friend of hers
in the bed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he was telling the whole story. Like, I met her, and then 2 weeks later, and then we was in the bed. We was about to get busy. And
all the gloves are off.
Yeah, I mean, he was like giving a detailed rundown.
He said he wrote most of her raps. He
said most of her raps.
So it's
like that.
Okie dokie.
Like,
all right. But anyway, God bless them. I hope they
yeah, man, me too.
Get it together. Speaking of getting it together, man, we gotta get our story together with this whole country music thing because I had to do a little bit of research, and I'm still in the process of researching now because I was watching the American Music Awards, where the clips from the American Music Awards, and the clip went viral of Shabuzi, and we get the artist name right, Shabuzi, Megan Maroney.
Yeah, Megan Maroney.
And there was a clip where I wish I could just pull it up, where she basically said this family called the Carters. Who, forgive me, they're legendary in country music, which I'm not an expert.
I'm not gonna take that away. They are.
And she was saying they invented country music, and he kind of gave her this look like, "You kidding me?" You know. But obviously, he was reading off a teleprompter.
Right.
So somebody wrote that for her to say, and she said it. But it sparked all this debate. I'm talking about the American Music Awards, y'all. That happened a week ago, and it was a big controversy. But and I kind of wanted to research because I'm like, wait a second, like that's something we always say, right? Well, black people invented country music, but I had to go like, is it true? We say a lot of stuff. And for me, is it true? I'm big with accuracy, and I don't want to get on nobody's podcast talking about something that I don't know nothing about. So my first question was, who invented country music? And I did a little bit of research, and I found out some information. I'm not finished my research, but I know what I found out. But to y'all knowledge, did y'all see the clip?
I saw the clip.
And what do y'all think about it? And who invented country music based on what y'all know?
I saw the clip. I think he gave her the side eye.
He came back and said he didn't.
He came back and said he didn't.
Real political.
But you gave her the side eye because as soon as she said, and they invented country, you were like, we know what it's
wasn't really for her.
We know what it's
but I don't think
not for her.
His statement didn't really say. His statement said, "I meant no disrespect to
her."
To her,
yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, it was more of his statement. He didn't really walk it back. He just was like the energy wasn't really for her. It was more for what she was saying.
The statement. Yeah. Now that I understand, it's not so much for Megan Maroney. It was for the statement.
Yeah,
I would have gave a side eye to the statement too.
Yeah,
you read that? Like that's not true, right? Yeah. Or is it? Or is it true?
Nah. From what I heard, it's not. From what I heard, it's not true.
Yeah. From what I heard, it's not. I heard is they came over. Slaves came over.
They may have been pioneers.
They came over, had some loop instruments, banjos that was native to the Africa. And when they came over, they saw them like, oh, yo, what's this? And they adopted it and made it part of.
I mean, if Africans invented the banjo, and the banjo was the basis for bluegrass, which birthed country, I think maybe we get caught up in semantics as far as the words we say, but obviously, like, there would be no country music if it wasn't for Africans, black people. So you can debate on, hillbilly music,
right.
who were the first country artists and all that. But obviously, black people had a hand in developing it. And even the early country artists I'm not done. I like to be thorough in my research. But from what I'm learning, a lot of the main early, first it was called hillbilly music, the hillbilly music country, a lot of them got inspiration directly from black people, black artists, who may or may not have gotten credit for their contributions to their music. So obviously, like, we were there in the beginning, and we like a lot of stuff in the United States of America, black people were like, even though we were a minority, we were like the foundation of the building of this country.
Well, you heard the story of the gentleman. He was on Johnny Carson.
Okay. Oh yeah, I
I
saw
think it
that
was Johnny
segment.
Carson,
Yeah.
where he was talking about Johnny Carson was interviewing him about his work with Elvis
Mm-hmm.
and how he created all the music for Elvis and even the style of Elvis. And to prove it, Johnny Carson kind of was like, "Well, can you get up and show us something?" He was like, "Yeah." He got up and literally sang the songs. Even in he said this was the original style of how I demoed the song for Elvis, and how Elvis took all of that and that became his persona as Elvis. So, is there historical information that we can visibly go back in history and see that Black people have had a hand in the development of genres? Yes, I would say absolutely.
Yeah, and I just think we can get into semantics and argue back and forth as far as like who was the first
Did
that.
we invent country, or did we invent the derivative of country, or the first instance of what would eventually become country?
Yeah, I just think this is a big can of worms. This might be our like, I don't know how, because we could be here for a while,
Yeah.
but it's a whole mess when you look at like the way Black people been treated in this country, and even in 2025 when it comes to Black people making country music and not being welcome and accepted into
Mhm.
country music when we were there from the beginning. It's kind of wild to me.
It's funny. I want to hear what Ty got to say, and Ty may be like, "Y'all tweaking." What you got?
Yeah, y'all tweaking.
I get the formula. The formula. Let us air it out.
Hold on.
Come back.
Let us air it out. Ty's like, I'm taking it in.
But
Taking
no,
it in.
Okay, so I googled it, and then I chat GPT'd it, which is funny too, and that's a whole nother episode. But you got to beware of even where you googling and chat GPT, because I look at everything with the side eye and be like, okay, well, what's the agenda of the people behind who even created the platform itself, right? But it states that um some portions of what became country music came from Irish immigrants, some European, British immigrants that came over, in addition to using some of the African influence, in addition to some of even what Indians were already doing here musically. Um, and then I want to take it a step further and say, okay, back in the day, like what were like the main instruments that they were using, and even like something like, for example, the fiddle. The fiddle was invented in Europe. So, like most things, the best version of something probably had some African influence. But did we create everything? Like, we gotta chill with that. Like, we make everything, y'all. Good grief. Now, the best version of most things has some of our influence in them. And this is one of those scenarios where I do believe that we weren't the only ones making instruments. Surely somebody else was making instruments somewhere. It says in the 16th century, Middle East, Europe, the fiddle. We know fiddle, violin turns into other instruments, but those were like some of the things when you watch those older movies, they didn't have too much. Now, whether something like the stomp box was created by Indians, and then that was something that they used to keep rhythm in country music and that kind of thing. I think that we heavily influenced the best version of everything. I think that the statement was in poor taste by the American Music Awards when you have genres of music, which is almost all of them, but not all, genres of music that have been influenced by so many different um, types of music from so many different places in the world. I don't think you should ever stamp somebody as the inventor, or I think that was in poor taste. They set Megan Maroney up for, and Shabuzi. he what is it? He understood the assignment. He did exactly what he should have did. He should have side out her. Like, wait a minute, how can we even say who's the inventor? Like, that's no. He just happened to be black, but I feel like whoever was standing next to her should have side eyed her. I don't care if it had been Jennifer Lopez or if it had been what's his name, Morgan Wallen. Anybody should have been like, really, Carter's really? That's who we think?
Whether it's June Carter,
yeah,
or Beyonce,
or I'm about to say, or
Sean
Carter. Like,
right.
I just think that the statement itself was in poor taste. But I noticed that under a lot of the posts I saw that people immediately made it a race thing.
Mm-hmm.
We got enough of race things going on. I don't think we need to add that one to the list.
But here's
in my opinion.
But why does it matter though?
That's why I say I don't think we need to add that.
Does it matter? Does it matter?
It does matter.
It does?
Well,
does it matter?
For example, if I say, you know what I'm saying, shout out to B for, you know, basically he is the inventor of podcasts. It's like, okay,
that's right.
Does he have a podcast? Did he invent that podcast? Yes, but should he get credit
for inventing?
Like, so now is he getting credit for inventing like the microphone and the camera and everything that go along with it?
I mean,
so to stamp a family or an individual, with an entire genre of music is reckless abandon.
That can be influenced by so many things. I mean, Like I'm not gonna go off topic.
That's reckless.
I could be like, who really invented electricity? Was it?
But, no, I mean, and actually,
you can't even invent electricity was already
the person who got credit for it ain't the one who invented that anyway.
Well, he ain't invented that anyway.
That's on some Christopher Columbus.
No, I researched that. It was somebody on his team. Edison. Edison had a whole
like Tesla.
No, it wasn't Tesla.
Oh. I heard somebody did it before him, and then he basically did what they did, but way more people knew him.
Right. I heard he stole it from Tesla.
Well, from what I understand, he had teams. They worked 24 hours a day. He had teams of people working. He was the leader of the team.
Right.
And somebody on his team came up with it, but it was him. Like, if you like,
there's always the leader trying to take credit for the team.
Well,
like Salt and Pepper. So everybody in the streets is dapping up Salt and Pepper, but everybody in the boardrooms is dapping up Herbie Love.
No, but Edison is the one who got the financing for all the projects and paid all the salaries. He was like and he was a scientist too. He did it, so he just couldn't do it all. He had teams working 24 hours a day. And you know, Edison, he actually made the first recorder to record music.
Yeah.
But I'm
no.
I'm a nerd. So
you know what I like about this, where I looked up the fiddle. Oh, I said who invented the fiddle was what I asked. I like this answer because AI said the fiddle, also known as a violin, didn't have a single inventor. And that's how I feel about most genres of music.
Mm-hmm.
There is no single. It didn't even attempt to find one specific person.
I think many people may have been doing it in maybe respective areas or similarities, and it probably just coagulated into what it is today. It may not have just been, this is bluegrass and it's over here, then this is this and it's over here, and there's distinction between the two.
Yeah.
I think a lot of music is kind of influenced by many different things. Classical, jazz, hip hop, country, rock. I mean, any type of music probably has influences from other types of areas. And music and subgroups of people.
It's so fluent in that way that it can be influenced and nuanced by each individual. Like, no two people are gonna sing a song the exact same way. You know, if you give them the creative freedom. And so, there's a lot of
black people. Did we invent?
Did we have a hand in it? Yes, because clearly there was something that we were doing musically that ended up being part of the influence that it was.
I think it had a very heavy influence on what would eventually become country music. I keep saying it that way because whatever the derivative was prior, led up to becoming this. And I think this was like, oh, we want to take this, which was probably 90% of it. And then we want to take this, which is 3%, and this, which is 5%, and then this, which is
2%.
Yeah, you know, I was about to.
I was keeping it.
Which this is 2%, right? Because I was about to say some other number, and I was like, let me make sure I add it up real quick.
Because when you watch Sinners and you see your man out there,
I haven't seen Sinners yet.
Okay, it's a part where it's a dude.
Oh, bro, yeah, go see it because
you tweaking.
Because at a certain point, we can't be responsible for spoilers. Now we give you a couple weeks.
We order over a month.
We give you a month, bro.
Yeah,
like, at that point, bro, like all bets are off, bro.
Look,
so, but it's a part where the dude is basically doing like an Irish jig, right? And it clearly could be considered country or bluegrass or Americana, but it's Irish. And when you look at that and think about how we say we influence music, I ain't gonna hold you, but we ain't had nothing to do with that. There wasn't no soul in that.
It was dope though.
It was fire.
It was dope.
But it wasn't us. It ain't had none of our vibe in it. Poor me lassie went down by the water. Like, nah, that wasn't us. That wasn't us. So we
but
can't.
I guarantee we can take an influence of that.
Yeah, it was some influence.
Create something that's new and different. And I think that's what happened. I think that's how country evolved into being quote unquote country. But even looking at it from now, country isn't country how it was back then to even what country is today. And so it grows and then it becomes influence. Because you talked about, you know, is it okay to now use? I had this conversation with my kids and wife one day.
Country got 808 in it.
They got 808s in there
nowadays.
And I was trying to tell them one day that because we were listening to Chainsmokers, and I was telling them, I said, "Oh no, this song is heavily influenced by hip hop." No, it ain't. It's blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh no." You know how I know? There's two distinct sounds that are hip hop influenced in this song: 808s, hi hats, and them two things is definitive to hip hop. So I know when I hear that in this song, it's hip hop influence.
Where the influence,
I can absolutely tell because, like when I heard one of my favorite songs, actually, "Human." I'm only human, flesh and blood, a man. You know that song?
Is that the words? What this?
Who's that?
I'm only human, of flesh and blood.
I didn't know he said flesh.
I am just a man.
Come on, baby, I'm stuck in the 80s. I'm thinking about was it Jeffrey Osborne? Who's saying that with the R&B version?
But here's what I came to know about that song. When I listened to the song, that song was made by a white dude from Britain, right? I think it was from Britain. From Britain, he came over to the United States because he wanted a more soulful type song. Who did he go get this song from? Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They produced "Human," but "Human" is it was the song, right? I think it was the group. I think that's the actual name of the. What's the name of the? Y'all gotta. Yeah, what's the
on that song? Okay,
I didn't know it was flesh and blood. I didn't know them words. I just was.
And then the lady's like, "I am just a man." Yeah, oh yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, no.
But every time I hear it, I go, "This song is a friggin' R&B song." Every time I hear it. Why? There's 808s. There's not 808 slides. There's bass slides in it. Like, and you can tell there were elements of R&B in that song. That's why they went to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis to get it, because they wanted that R&B feel. But he's a dude from Britain. Matter of fact, not only that, but what's your man's name?
It was doing a lot of that back then, because that same around that same time. Never want to give you up.
Yes. Never want to let you down.
The Rick Roll.
Around and hurt you. Right. That song, right?
Yes, Rick Roll.
That's his name? Rick Roll?
Yeah, because when they send, it was a thing when they send you an email and you open it up and say you got Rick Roll. It's a prank that they send you a link to something and you click it and that will come up and they say you got Rick Roll.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you never got email or text messages to open up something, you open it up and it's just that.
Nah.
It's called getting Rick Rolled.
That's
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That's out of pocket.
It's a thing, yeah.
Out of pocket. But that's like Rod Temperton. He's a white dude from England who was in a group called Heat Wave.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Facts.
And Heat Wave, Rod Temperton, they made a whole bunch of hits. Doom, 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 doom. Groove Line. Groove Line was their jam. That's one of my favorite songs. Ooh, ooh, the wheels are turning. Doom, doom. Ooh, wee. Rod Temperton did that. Rod Temperton wrote friggin' Billie Jean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? A dude from Britain, white dude, who's in this group, older dude came in over here and wrote one of the greatest. I don't want to get into the discussion with the pop song or not. Michael Jackson songs, right? But Billie Jean was heavily influenced by Heat Wave because that's the style of music that Rod Temperton was making. When Quincy Jones wanted to make Billie Jean, he sought out Rod Temperton to come over and make that type of music for Michael Jackson. Like, so can we say that we invented one particular style when it's been influenced by so many different things? I think that's out of pocket to say. Did we heavily influence? 100%.
Yes.
100%.
I'm just tired of all the division in this country.
I'm tired of the division because it don't matter.
I'm all for people coming together on both sides. Because obviously we're dealing with a lot of racist resistance. But at the same time, how about we just take all the negative people and put them to the side and just all come together. Everybody who's a good person, who love music and got a good heart, let's all come together. Yeah. And all the idiots and racists who put them, we ignore them. Yeah. So we don't got to go back. We don't got to get into a contest of who invented what, how much we. Obviously, we influence country music, obviously, but to say we invent, I'm with you. To say we like, and I'm with you too. Like, who cares or something? Like, bro, like, let's just what we doing?
And even as an independent artist, should you care? Make the music that you like. Like, I love classical music.
I mean, we should know our history.
Yeah, I just getting ready to say
the history.
I was gonna say
100%.
Fans, real fans, about those individuals or that genre that we are fanatical about, the details matter.
They do.
They do.
I get it. They matter.
We should know history, but we shouldn't like. Because my thing is
we should know history, but we shouldn't be held captive by history.
But we don't know definitively. Like, we only know we weren't there back in the 1920, 1910. True. Obviously, we know black people influenced everything. And to me, that's enough to me. That who, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but I think because we know that, that's why why would you?
No, but
why would you say that somebody was the inventor of a genre of music?
And you know what's heavily influenced by so many different things. That's because somebody wanted to put it out. Because somebody wanted to put it out there.
The inventor of Zydeco.
You know why?
Or the inventor of Tejano. No. Okay, well, that's probably not up for too much debate.
You know why? Because I mean, we didn't really get into it, but the full list of who won in the AMAs. What did Cowboy Carter win though?
The country record.
Country record of the year. So I'm sure somebody was like,
oh, let this black woman pay homage to the white people kind of thing.
Exactly. Her name Carter too, but it was like, how's she gonna win album of the year? How's she gonna win country album of the year when country was started by
the
Carters?
Yeah.
A white family.
One of my controversial takes is I don't think that
allegedly.
I guess that's kind of the same as the Michael Jackson thing. I guess I don't know. I'm confused at this point. Like if you're a pop artist and you do a country album,
you should be able to do whatever you want to do.
I guess you have to respect the genre, and then just accept it for being part of that genre, regardless of what the artist generally does. If somebody does a pop song, it doesn't matter if they're an R&B artist. That's a pop song.
But that's
her case, doesn't matter that she's a pop artist. She did country songs, and so.
But that's the statement.
That should be categorized as country.
But that's why I made the statement that we shouldn't be held captive by history. And so, if I historically am a person, not just history from past, but a history of myself as an artist. Mm-hmm. If I'm known to only make this type of music, I shouldn't be held captive to only be able to make that type of music. I should have the freedom to make music that I like and I enjoy and that I want to make. Like, I love EDM. Y'all don't really know that, do y'all? But I will make a EDM. I like K-pop. I will make a K-pop song. I got one that I got sitting on my heart and it's super dope. But a person shouldn't be held captive to what they historically have done. They should have the freedom and flexibility to do whatever it is that they
If Billie
want to do.
Eilish tomorrow dropped an album of 12 songs, straight rapping,
Straight just
nothing
gangsta.
but I don't care what kind, but she's just rapping though. She's actually rapping, not singing, rapping. It's a rap album, and if
It's a
good,
rap album.
if it's good, it should be considered for whatever award.
It's a rap album. And especially if she ain't on it clown, if she's not on there with the intent to clown,
if it's respected,
then that's different.
and it's actually good, right?
If it's actually good.
But what I want to talk about the AMAs, or the AMAs actually, I did a little more research. Apparently, the fans vote for the AMAs, so that's the whole.
They do.
See, that's why I kind of like the fact that they're different awards, because the Grammys has its place for the actual artists to give their take on what's hot. Then you got the AMAs, the People's Choice Awards, where the people actually say, because a lot of times it's way different. Case in point, the whole Eminem thing, with the whole Eminem winning Best Rap Artist and Best Rap Album. Both with GNX.
When?
At the AMAs.
This year?
Last week. When it just happened.
I'm weak.
No, let me say something.
I am weak in the
last. No, don't do that. Don't do that, because even though, as a critic myself, I would have given those awards to other people. However, also as a critic, I will say that Eminem's body of work is worthy of consideration for the award. And my
consideration?
No,
okay.
But here's my other point is that his fan base is bigger.
His fan base is huge.
So here's the thing.
Huge.
We gotta stop calling popularity contest awards.
It's the American.
They not the same thing.
But it's the American Music Awards.
It's not the Grammys. In the Grammy,
he was no. It should.
It's different.
So he won an award not on the merit competitively of the quality of his product versus somebody else's, but based on the number of people who were willing to vote for him. Like me and you could have a fit check up in here, right? And it's like, oh well.
Ty, my first statement was that from a critical standpoint, that album can be compared to all the other albums. GNX, We Don't Trust You. It's a great album. It's on par with all those albums.
Eminem's album is a great album.
The Death of Slim Shady?
It's a great album.
Great album. And the critics, all the critics that be dissing them, they all agree. Critically, the album is critically acclaimed. Go read the reviews. Go listen to the album.
I listened to the album.
It's a great album. And most critics agree. Most critics agree.
It's escargot.
Yeah, so nominations.
Quail eggs.
So nominations are selected based on commercial performance, such as sales and airplay. Winners have been determined by a poll of the public and fans who can vote through the AMA's website. While nominations are based on sales, airplay, including activity on social networks and video viewing, and then there's some other things that.
So it's basically like a board.
Here you go, Ty. I got one for you.
Picks who's gonna be nominated, and then they open it up for everybody.
Yeah. So the board.
You, any T.I. album post Paper Trail, it's not as good as Slim Shady. Not even close.
Post
Paper Trail. Any T.I. album post Paper Trail ain't touching
T.I.'s last album is better than that.
Nope.
Yeah, it is.
Nope.
The Death of Slim Shady. That's what he just came out with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's quail eggs.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. It's escargot.
I don't know about that.
As a matter of fact, I love music, and I could even name a T.I. album post Paper Trail, and he has several of them.
Yeah, and they were good.
Trouble Man with the gun.
They were amazing. What's wrong with you, man?
Nope. I'm kind of teasing you. I'm kind of teasing, but my point is the album was critically acclaimed. So
it was,
but I would give it that. Escargot.
It's worthy of consideration.
That's an opinion. That's an opinion, though.
That is escargot.
Yeah.
Is an opinion.
Yeah.
We talking about music, right? Are there any facts? There are no facts in music.
I'm sure they can probably be some facts.
Any creative,
but Ty, the
criteria.
The fact though is that once a board decides these albums are worthy of consideration, they let the fans decide.
Yeah, and that's where facts go out the window.
And my point is that I'm trying to make a broader point though, for the independent artists at home, is that your fan base, some awards are rewarding you for developing a fan base. The same reason Beyonce won. Beyonce won
like that.
country. Beyonce won that country album only because she had it because of the
Because
Beehive.
her fan base, because
I
them
like
Beehives
that.
went in and did it.
The
They
Beehive.
went in and did it.
They got her that award.
That's right.
That's a bar.
Whereas at the CMAs, they shut her out.
They
They shut her
because
out. The CMAs.
because CMAs is not fan. It's not. I don't think the CMAs is fan
It's
voted.
not.
It's not.
Whereas
But AMAs is.
with the Grammys, Doechii beat Eminem. Doechii album, because Eminem was nominated for the Grammy as well, but Doechii album won Album of the Year for Rap Album of the Year. So, and that's critics, a peer.
That's a peer.
A peer
Right.
voting. So my point for the people, I'm kind of picking on you with the T.I. thing, but my point for the people
But T.I. is the best.
No, sir.
rapper.
Stop it.
My point for the people at home is that our award shows important to you, and if they are, know what awards do what. This is a fan driven award.
Yes.
That's right.
Fan driven
It's
award.
fan-driven.
Whereas the Grammys are a peer, and the People's Choice is strictly fans. AMAs is like a little bit of both. You got to have a board to decide what gets nominated, and the fans decide. So just kind of my question
and then
is,
the factual awards is
None.
yeah, it is Billboard. It's a fact based on
Well, it's
new
fact based on
numbers
on data.
exactly.
on data.
We get that,
Now the numbers can be fake and
The
inflated,
streams can be fake,
but it's
True.
done literally on who had numerically
True.
the yomp and
That's
the
right.
womp.
And I guess my point was to try to, because I think Kai Cenat, he had a statement. It was like, I rock with Eminem, but they bugging, and so it's a big controversy. Everybody's like, why did Eminem win this? And I'm saying because he has a
huge fan base.
He does. He probably has the largest hip hop. Well, he is the hip hop artist with the largest fan base. I don't think that makes him the
may not be the best
artist, but fan base.
But AMAs is not about who's the best.
Yeah,
it's about who the fans have decided.
No, I love the fact that B said you create music, you market, you do all those things, you put together a body of work that puts you in position to be considered for these things. You did the work to create that fan base.
That's right.
And you should at some point during your career have the ability to reap the benefit.
That's right. Be celebrated.
Reap the benefit of what you've done creatively over a span of time, even if it's specific to a project. The work that he did since album 1 got him to the number of fans today that got him that win.
That's
so
right.
you can't knock the hustle.
Is that something to aspire to though, as an independent coming up? Like, and again, whenever I mention these things, it's always levels. Because maybe you'll never be that big, but maybe you can get to a certain level where your fan base can afford you certain things, like a full-time career where you don't got to work a 9 to 5 anymore. Or maybe it can afford you to be in rooms with the big dogs. Whatever it is, what do you want to aspire to as an artist? Figure it out, set goals, and get to work.
That's true.
But I don't know, man. The AMAs, I sent y'all the whole list. It was a couple. I think Kendrick Lamar won the best rap song.
But with Not Like Us. He won. Billie Eilish won like
the best artist of the year. She won overall artist of the year.
She won, in categories like 10 times probably. I couldn't even continue to count how many times she won in that category. I was like, that is crazy. The amount of times that she won. But once again, it is fan driven.
Yeah.
And so
it's a lot of rap songs better than They Not Like Us, but I ain't gonna hold you.
But I mean, that song,
a lot of rap songs that came out last year that was better than that song.
Yeah, but you think about.
Okay, name a couple times. Let's go.
I thought about it and I couldn't come up with it.
She won 7.
But that's because I don't know any of I only
name
me some. Hear them.
Yeah, she won 7, and she won in all 7 categories that she was nominated for, including Artist of the Year, Album of the Year, Song of the Year, and Favorite Touring Artist.
And Beyonce won Favorite
Country Album.
Female Country Artist too.
Country Artist. Best Country Album and Best Female Country Artist.
But let's think about this though. And I tell artists this when I work with artists. on a promotion and marketing basis. The hardest genre to build an independent fan base in, especially if you're not specifically located where that music is embraced, is country music. There are small pockets all over the world that listen to country music, but it's not to the magnitude that you can find hip hop anywhere in the world. It's not to the magnitude that you can find jazz anywhere in the world. It's not to the point where you can find classical music anywhere. Country is not there. There is, you would probably have to put the top 5 country artists together to compete with Beyonce for number of fans.
Around the world.
Around the world.
Around the world.
Stop playing. Well, it is called the American Music Awards, though. So we're going to assume, that only in the United States. But even if only in the United States, hip hop is one thing. A large part of Beyonce's music at the start of her career was hip hop infused. R&B is another thing. Clearly, she had that on lock.
Pop.
And then pop is everything because it doesn't matter what genre it comes from.
That's right.
Once it becomes a hit in that genre, it becomes a popular music. So Beyonce's got all of that under her umbrella.
You know,
who's gonna beat her in country? They ain't got enough fans.
That's true.
That's why she won.
Not from an AMA perspective, she don't have enough fans. I mean, she has enough fans. They don't.
Put 5 or 6 of them together to have as many fans as Beyonce.
When Cowboy Carter first came out, one of the reasons why people were mad about her being on Billboard, they didn't want her in the country category because they said that her numbers were inflated because her fan base was so big.
Right.
She got to number 1 because she had all those fans. So they said it wasn't fair. They were trying to take her out of the country category because they said... Because
so it's her fault she got all these fans?
That's what I said. I'm like, well, she made a country album and she happens to have fans.
She got fans.
And if anything, it's bringing light to the genre over.
She got fans.
Yeah, what you did.
I mean, Michael Jackson had 4.8 billion fans. I saw a video clip today that said he, outside of Jesus Christ, he was the second most famous person in all the world. 4.8 billion fans. Michael Jackson made music in many, many different genres. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that. We know he did. And so just because he has a lot of fans and he makes music in his genre, does that automatically eliminate him from being in that category or genre, or even to be considered as a viable artist in that genre because he has 1.9 billion pop fans and he got 2 billion?
I think it's on a project by project basis, though. To your point, or I think B said it, she made a country album, so we're going to judge it as a country album.
Yeah, judge it as a country album.
But even Beyonce, we're still saying in the same breath that we're saying that the majority of her fans
are not country.
From pop, right? So clearly she's still, is she a country artist?
No.
Or I don't know. What do you call it? When somebody...
I call it she's an artist.
Okay.
I say pop. She's popular, right?
I say she's an artist.
She does R&B.
If you decided to do R&B, country, pop, hip hop.
So then it becomes less of what you are and more of what you make.
Yeah.
What you make.
And it's got to be judged on its individual merit.
I mean, Nelly made a country song.
Cause it's all in my head.
I mean, Nelly
over and over again.
He has done well for himself in country.
Yes.
Oh, didn't he do one with Florida Georgia Line too?
Yes.
Yeah.
A really good song with Florida Georgia Line.
I mean, but would you say Nelly's a country artist? No.
His album's called Country Grammar.
It's country grammar, right? It's country grammar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, depending on who you ask. Yeah.
Country grammar, right? But he's an artist.
Yeah. That makes me change my mind. I literally, you guys, this is awesome, guys.
That's why we do this.
Change my perspective on
podcast
because I was like, no, Beyonce is a pop artist.
Invented podcast.
She is being a
outgoing from the internet.
Right. She's an artist.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that she infiltrated country music, and she know that she's not really a country artist. But
But she's an artist.
Yeah, now that we have talked through it, I
I'm gonna
feel
tell you
like
what.
you should get credit for doing what you do.
I'm gonna tell you what.
But
If that's what you
There's
did.
a guy that I know, and you know the same guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but I was in a position to hear an unreleased song that he produced. And a friend of mine played this song for me. And he said, "Guess who produced this?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, and he said the person's name, and I was like, "No way." And this was 100% country song. And the person who produced it is a very well-known hip-hop producer that makes hip-hop and R&B.
Yeah.
And it was 100% country song. And you would never expected that person to make it. But he's a producer. He's not a hip-hop producer. He's not a pop producer. He's not an R&B. He is a producer. And as a producer, I should be able to make music, regardless if it's country, hip-hop, pop.
Yeah, that's different.
But even as an artist.
No, because artists are generally held to a genre.
No, you put them in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put them
Absolutely.
in a box.
Everything that they do, you put it in a box.
And they should not be held captive by that.
Come on.
They should.
They have to be. That's just how the system has been created. There are stations you turn to that only play a genre.
True.
So therefore, you have to declare what that individual work, maybe not necessarily the artist, but the individual work is constituted as.
Yeah,
but as a producer, you have the ability to really produce whatever is needed for an artist, and that could span a multitude of genres.
Things. But if you have all these different segmented radio stations, because the white radio station that want to play black music, even though the black music sounds like the white music, and if you have white artists who sound like, which is why you had NSYNC and Backstreet Boys who sounded like Boys II Men, but R&B didn't want to play them, but they eventually played them because they made R&B music. And it's like, but those same stations didn't want to play Boys II Men. Even though Boys II Men they had a lot of pop songs. They didn't want to play them. Even though that's the type of music that they made. They made R&B music, they made pop music. But an artist should be defined by making music, not by the classification of the genre that we box them in.
Unfortunately, we
live in a
boxed-in system.
But they shouldn't.
Music is absolutely categorized.
It is.
And has been since the beginning of time. We name a music like we name people.
But they put them there.
It's not truly
those categories didn't come up until I don't want to get it wrong. You know, I'm all about facts, but those didn't exist until after they started. I think it was after Billboard. I got a book upstairs called Major Labels. This is a great, phenomenal book though. And it tells the history of all this. And it talks about how these classifications of genre didn't exist until up to a certain period of point when they wanted to segregate the music so that it was white artists and black artists and whoever these artists, and there was a segregation of that. But prior to that, they didn't exist. But we put them there. We put these boxes.
Well, then that's the case. It probably goes back to whenever radio was started.
Yeah.
Because
we're not going to play their music over here.
You mentioned radio, and this is what I'll say. This would be my kind of final thought on the whole thing. I feel like if there's ever a time in the world or society where you can break the rules, bend genres, and just kind of do whatever you want to do, is now. I think that because even the concept of terrestrial radio is kind of like radio in general. You know, we got playlists. I say just be who you want to be. Of course, you got to have marketing plans and you got to have strategies. That's where the category stuff comes.
That's where the category
your plans and all that. But in general, just kind of create your art and let it fly. You know, if you got a team, let your team worry about the marketing and all that. And if you don't got a team, start with the art. Market it later, but create what you want to create. Don't sit behind in the studio thinking about what do I want to, where's this music going to go? Just create. Create then figure out how you gonna market and promote it. But if there's ever a time to bend genres and to try new things and to mix genres, go for it, man. Just be free.
I love that. I don't think that works, but I love it, the sentiment of it. I'm a creator, but
don't listen to
don't
let negative Nancy stop you.
Yeah,
but listen to the truth.
Don't let doubters
be honest to you.
Tell you what you can't do.
Your greatest superpower is your ability to be honest with yourself.
Just create.
Just create.
If you want to sing country on a hook and start rapping 8 bars, whatever you feel in your heart, go for it.
Do it. Just know that it's going. You're gonna have to create a place for it.
But listen, there's what 8 billion people in the world. There's
a lane for somebody.
A pocket of people that it may not be a lot. It may not be a lot. Or maybe you'll be the one to create a new genre of something. Who knows?
You could be.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah.
Be who God put you on this earth to be.
Do your thing.
Do your thing. I think that's the message.
Let it fly.
Do your thing.
Let it fly.
Get you some good headphones so you can listen to your music.
That's right. Like these. They cost $39.
You need what is it? 1,000 fans to pay you $100.
$100. $100. 1,000 fans to give you $100.
You got to live it.
Yep.
Yeah. So out of 8 billion people, you can make the most trash music.
There are people doing it. There are people. If you read that book,
you'll find 1,000. It may take you some years to get there. It may take you a whole decade to build your tribe, but it's possible.
And you may not be a giant superstar. You may not want to be a giant superstar. You may not want to be in that lifestyle of a giant superstar. Because I heard a quote from J.Q. Smith today. He was talking about the goal isn't to be a big megastar. The goal isn't to be, have this and this and that. He said the goal is to be happy. And he's like, if you're depressed now and you get all this, you're gonna be super depressed, or you're gonna have super nervous, super anxiety. He said your goal is to be happy. And if making $100,000 a year as an artist makes you happy, do it. You may not ever reach the level of being a superstar, but if you can still pay your bills and still live a great life and still enjoy the things that you like, and you still make the music that you like, and you got people who rock with you and they develop into fans, and if that's what you want, then that's what you do.
I love all of that.
That's what you do.
But there's a reason why when you go to the buffet, the yams and the corn is not mixed together. The chicken is not in there with the roast beef.
That's because people don't like their food touching. That's right.
And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that
there's a reason.
You've got to be able to clearly make a decision based on looking at something and saying we have become we have a human tendency of wanting to identify what something is.
Well, you can't be a big melting pot of everything. Oh, I do jazz, country, hip hop, pop, R&B.
But there's people doing that. There's people who like, I love multiple genres of music and I'm gonna infuse them. And
I know people like that.
And you can, there are certain obviously genres like hip hop and R&B that you can infuse them together. Obviously, we've seen it works. You can do some hip hop and some country.
Right.
There's some other variations that are being done,
right.
And you just gotta know that you will have to find your audience
for sure.
You need to go. Look, I love the whole just go and be creative, yes, but you want to give yourself the best opportunity to be heard by those who your music resonates with, which means that you need to package it in a way that makes it easily palatable, understandable for those individuals. And a lot of times we as artists allow artistry to get in the way of consumability. And we create things that people, if they've got to do too much to try to understand what it is, they just...
But you got to do both.
Skip to the next. There's so much music being made. If it's not easily identifiable, it becomes, what is this? I'm not saying from an artist perspective not to do your thing. I'm just saying as you do your thing, understand the marketplace. If that's where you want to be, you may decide, I don't care if my music doesn't get listened to by a lot of people. I want to express myself and do what I love. Then do that.
It's both.
But if you want to... and I say this, and I'm saying this because it's important, because there's so many creatives that get discouraged when the way that the consumers don't feel the same way about their music that they feel about their music.
True.
And then, but because they're doing something that feels good to them, you know, they're just like, I don't understand why people aren't listening. I don't, you know, you have to just be honest with yourself to a point of, am I packaging this in a way that is consumable to a consumer?
True.
People say they want to make music and then they're like, oh, you know, I don't care if anybody likes it. You're lying.
You're lying. You're lying.
Cut it out.
You're lying.
Cut it out.
But it's both. It really is both. You got to still tie in the artistry with what's palatable.
It's a consumer product at the end of the day. Unless you're just making it for yourself, then don't put it on distro then.
Ever.
This is the suits versus the artist debate right here.
Yeah. It's both. You got to have artistry.
Yeah, I think you've got
to have what's what's palatable for.
And I am that. I am the creative executive.
You got to have confidence.
Not delusion.
You gotta have confidence.
Confidence.
You can't have delusion?
Is important.
Let me tell you something.
Russ says you gotta be delusional.
Let me tell you something. I don't care if it is delusion. You know what?
Be delusional about your path.
Confidence.
But not about your product.
Confidence is palatable. Be so confident.
That's a fact.
You don't care what nobody say. You so confident, you're gonna put this out and you're gonna find your tribe.
True.
Be confident and be determined. And I promise you'll be all right. Be confident and be determined. Say, I'm not gonna lose. I'm dope. I am dope. Okay?
I am dope.
You might feel this about this song, that song. I'm dope. You gonna like it. You gonna rock with me.
And even if you don't like it, every music is not for every person. But,
hey, look.
But I'm still dope. And that's not gonna change the fact that I'm still dope.
Here's the thing, Ty, that I don't want to happen though. I don't want people, because this is the whole industry plant kind of stuff, right? Don't be inauthentic. You know, don't be in the studio trying to make a hit record. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I said, let the executives deal with it once you finish with it.
Right.
Let them deal with it and they sit down and they figure out. But don't try to be something, and just let it be natural. You know what I'm saying? Let it be natural. Right. And I'm not saying I think for the most part, most of us, I say us because I'm an artist as well, right? Most artists, we ain't gonna be in there just making gumbo every record.
Right.
Most of us not,
Nah, we not. We not.
For the most part. No.
Not.
Been around the world and yeah.
No, but what
I've seen it all.
What I'm saying is that for the most part, just don't get into that mode where you gotta figure, okay, because I've been in the studio too many times with people. I'm talking about prominent people, and I want to bang my head against the wall. People who are so dope, they can't get out their own way because they're trying to here's how it happens most of the time, though, from what I've seen. So and so is successful. This person right here who has been successful but trying to get over the hump. Oh man, I gotta do this over here. And they come and it's like, why?
And they fail at it.
Like, why?
Because what worked for them may not work for you.
Why are you trying to do that? You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
Or some kind of executive call. Hey, we see you over there. We got so-and-so going on. Let us get some of that sauce for the so-and-so over here. Just get, okay, what you need.
Let's bring that team over here and see what they could do for you.
Give me that for this person right here.
And sometimes it doesn't work. There's lessons, ladies and gentlemen.
So
wisdom.
Let's just be authentic. Let's just create, you know what I'm saying? And I think being extreme with the whole extreme, I don't think that's the norm. What I'm saying is, you might can, let's take an artist like Owaifan Lucci, what's the guy from the West Coast? Roddy Ricch, YMW Miller. A lot of these singing Rod Wave, these singing or singing rappers, that is something that's came in the last 10 years.
You know what Drake was.
No, well, in Drake's defense, he's not the best singer, but he actually sings for real though. He ain't the best singer. But he sings. I'm talking about these rappers
more on that Future vibe.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm saying is that if they had us not try to, in other words, don't when you try to stick to a certain lane, you don't get creativity and you don't get new stuff. So just be free, and you might create something new, a new lane.
That's true.
Yeah. So
be creative. Strategically.
Be strategically creative. That's the thing.
You could go in there and go, what the hell?
Creative.
What the hell, Leontay? What the hell, LeBron James?
And that's not what you do. Right?
Listen,
But anyway.
And that song's a hit, right? Somebody else might have told him, hey man, like where the rest of the lyrics at?
You were like, that's it.
Like, yeah, but it feels good. It's definitely
that's like
sonically in the lane of the music. It's completely different than other songs, but it has characteristics that make it identifiable to an audience. And so it's completely different, but it works.
Be strategically creative.
You got to be strategic. I'm just saying.
That's
you don't have to. You can do whatever you want to do.
Be strategically creative.
But if you
it's both.
Well, you got to think about it. At the end of the day gonna end.
It's both. It's gonna end. It's gonna end just like we about to.
At the end of the day gonna end.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. That was great. That was great. That was.
Oh man.
Yeah, we out.
I just warming up.
You should have warmed up. It's 9:15.
God bless everybody. Man.
God bless everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, we out. We the hat and glasses boys today.
Yeah,
so,
we are.
Yeah. Hat, glasses, headphones. Boom. Same headphones. Hat, glass.
Yeah.
And we all got on shirts and pants.
Going.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we out. We appreciate y'all.
Peace. Keep going.
Peace. Strategically creative.